This is a 7 News First Alert Weather Tracking Winter Special. Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson.
Starting in early December, small amounts of snow fell just north and west of D.C. And yes, more snow is on the way this winter. Over the next half hour, our First Alert weather team will explain why. We'll break down how much snow could fall and the importance of elevation on snow totals. We'll also take a look at what one area ski resort sees as the prime conditions this winter. We'll hit the road in a popular EV car and see how efficient EVs are in winter. And finally, we'll take a look at how indoor and outdoor air quality changes during the winter. The last significant snowstorm for D.C. and surrounding areas was January 3rd, 2022. Reagan National saw 6.9 inches of snowfall with higher amounts over southern Maryland as the center of the storm tracked just off the coast and south of D.C. Places like St. Charles and Waldorf County picked up around 11 inches of snow, and Rosaryville in Prince George's County nearly 12 inches of snowfall. This could be a special year for snow lovers. This year, a phenomenon known as El Nino will nudge the odds in our favor for the most snow that we've received in recent years. I'll show you our seasonal snow forecast and what will be the most active month. Before we get our own snowpack here locally, ski resorts just a quick drive away can satisfy the best snow lover. But did you ever wonder what the best snow conditions are for making snow and keeping it around? How cold, how windy, what about humidity? First Alert weather meteorologist Mark Pena took a drive to Ski Liberty to find out.
We're fortunate enough to live in an area with access to one of the best wintertime activities, skiing. While our mountains are big enough to have ski resorts, sometimes the weather doesn't always work in our favor to keep them operating, which is where these guys come in. I spoke with Chris Blackwell, general manager of Liberty Mountain Resort, to talk about the processes that go into making enough snow to sustain their operations.
So our guns will blow snow into piles, and then the machines you see us behind us are called groomers, and they're in charge of ultimately pushing it out for an even surface, and then they groom it every single night. So that way, every time you come each morning, it's that easy, neat surface to learn how to ski and ski on.
Once snow is on the ground, it doesn't always stick around.
When we get the temperatures, we blow as much as we possibly can, as quickly as we possibly can, knowing that it's going to ebb and flow. Especially early on in the season, we'll get cold temps at night, and then it'll be a little warmer during the day. And so, again, we're doing everything we can when we have the temps so we can withstand maybe some of those warmer periods.
Average temperatures go below freezing overnight here, but they go back above freezing during the day. So how often is snow manufactured?
And we have snow guns lining all of our hills, both here and our tubing operations. Gives us the opportunity to make snow and get this place open really, really quickly as the winter approaches.
Big temperature swings can surely cause some headaches when trying to keep snow on the ground, which is why Chris says they work together on weather forecasting for the resort.
We are certified weather nerds. We spend a lot of time looking at the weather coming in, and ultimately what we do is we try to take advantage of every cold snap.
Rest assured, whether it's natural or man-made, the slopes here at Liberty Mountain Resort will be ready come opening day. In Fairfield, Pennsylvania, I'm Mark Pena. Back to you.
Thanks, Mark. That's one way to beat Mother Nature when it's not producing the big snows here just yet. After a record number of air quality alerts, including some rare code purples this past summer, we wanted to explore if air quality has been changing for our winters. Here's First Alert weather morning lead meteorologist Eileen Whalen.
Well, 2023 was one for the record books when it comes to air quality. Do you remember this? That was June 8th when we had our first code purple air quality alert in history for the DC region. Not only did it look almost apocalyptic, but it made breathing troublesome for those with respiratory issues. The Nationals game that day was even postponed because of the unprecedented poor air quality. Now, the haze that day was from fine smoke particles in the air that were transported to the U.S. East Coast via the jet stream. The air quality index, or AQI, is a measure of air pollution. So on a good, healthy air quality day, the air quality index is below 50. Now, on the day we reached code purple, the AQI reached over 200. And looking back at 2023 as a whole, there were a total of 22 unhealthy air quality days. So 1 code purple, 5 code red days, and 16 code orange days. Now, while this was the worst air quality that we've seen in the past 10 years, there have still been really big improvements since the early 2000s. So most of the summer, we're affected by ground level ozone, which is not emitted from the air, but caused by chemical reactions in the hot summer air. Air pollutants from car exhaust, aerosol products, and manufacturing emissions are some of the major contributions to ground level ozone. Now in the winter, ground level ozone isn't much of a factor with colder and darker days, but particle pollution remains a factor. Outdoor air quality can be compromised during the winter season, especially in urban areas. The burning of fossil fuels for heating and more people driving in cars can lead to elevated levels of particulate matter and pollutants. And believe it or not, indoor pollution can be 2 to 5 times higher than outdoors in the winter. And that's because we're trying to keep our homes and offices warm this time of year. So windows are closed and sealed, trapping in pollutants such as dust and pet dander. Also, fireplaces and wood stoves can release harmful particles and gases into the air. So some things that you can do this winter season to enjoy better air quality indoors is to replace or clean your air filter. Vacuum and dust often. Maybe invest in an air purifier and considering opening the windows for just a short time in the afternoon when it's not freezing cold, just to help air out the house. The First Alert Weather Team is always on your side, helping you breathe a little easier heading into 2024.
One big tip to protect yourself: monitor the indoor air quality and make sure the HVAC system is serviced and those filters are changed regularly. Thanks, Eileen. Up next, winter cold and your EV, will it function at peak performance? After snowstorms, you may have noticed some areas with more snow than others. Occasionally, the difference has to do with, well, the storm's track. But just as big of a factor is elevation. Here's First Alert weather meteorologist Steve Rudin with just how significant that is throughout the DMV.
Winter has finally arrived, and whether you love or hate snow, depending on your location on this map, can have a huge impact on how much snow you may see during a winter weather event. Now, keep in mind, Delmarva and Southern Maryland have experienced some truly epic snowstorms. However, for snowfall totals in the mountains, usually takes the cake, with elevation playing a major role. Speaking of elevation, we will start off toward the east, far east, Ocean City, Maryland. That's where the elevation stands at just around 7 feet above sea level, so relatively low for the D.C. metro area. Closer to the Potomac River, Reagan National is at 15 feet, over 300 at Dulles. But the winner, the jackpot zone in terms of elevation, it's off to the west. We go from nearly 700 feet at Winchester, over 2,000 in Frostburg, and close to 5,000 feet over at Snowshoe Resort in West Virginia. So elevation plays a key role in how much snow you may see in your neighborhood. Let's break it down for you in terms of why this happens. It's called orographic lift and the lapse rate. Most Atlantic storms may track differently. However, the lapse rate plays a significant role in snowfall totals. The rate of temperature change with the height is about 3.5 degrees per 1,000 feet. So if the temperature is 40 degrees at 500 feet, the temperature at a higher elevation of 5,000 feet would be around 27 degrees. Where every degree counts, that's why we often see more snow in northern Montgomery County, especially Damascus and Clarksburg, and lesser amounts in Chevy Chase and Silver Spring. Western Loudoun County, the same situation. Let's break down our average snowfalls across the area. Not a whole lot over in Ocean City. On average each year, about 1 inch. That is it. But you head across the bay and we're closer to 14 inches at Reagan National Airport, nearly 21 inches at Dulles. Winchester jumps to 22, Frostburg in Western Maryland at close to 65 inches. And then you head over to Snowshoe Mountain in West Virginia, closing in on 100 inches of snow annually. So it truly does make a difference in where you live on the map and how much snow you may see in your neighborhood.
Well, how cold is too cold for your EV? Winter low temperatures will impact the performance of an electric vehicle's battery. Here's First Alert meteorologist Jordan Evans on why you might want to power up more often this winter.
We all know that winter weather makes driving more difficult, and switching from a gas tank to a lithium-ion battery could add another inconvenience as cold temperatures decrease the range of electric vehicles. In 2018 and 2019, AAA looked at 5 different EV models and operated them outside at 20 degrees Fahrenheit while running the HVAC system, and reported an average 41% decrease in driving range.
To put that another way, instead of being able to go 100 miles like you expected, you'd probably really only be able to go 59 miles.
As technology improves, more recent research shows the average electric vehicle now loses about 30% driving range during the winter. All in all, you'll want to plan ahead for hitting the road in an electric vehicle, especially if a winter storm impacts your route.
Maybe I'm going to run to the convenience store around the corner and come right back. I'm not going to run my 8 or 9 mile errand where it's going to take me 3 or 4 hours when that storm could be moving through. All important decisions out there to make. Understanding that driving range could be impacted by those lower temperatures out there.
Studies suggest that most driving range is lost due to running the HVAC and keeping the cabin warm. Using seat warmers, a heated steering wheel, and turning down the cabin heater will give you more battery to travel.
On a day-to-day basis, if you're starting out, it's a cold morning, maybe there's some snow coming down outside, maybe it's precipitation. Preheating that vehicle while it's still going in that charging mode and getting it warm inside and the vehicle warmed up, I think that can help you avoid some of the heating usage of that battery and getting the car up to a comfortable temperature there.
Know your vehicle's limits and plan ahead. Thanks, Jordan. Up next, have you been in your car listening to the First Alert Weather Team's forecast yet? It starts by turning to 103.5 on your FM dial. As we go to break, let's test your winter weather trivia. What is a bomb cyclone? Is it A, a storm that rapidly intensifies with pressure drops of 24 millibars in 24 hours? B, a winter hurricane? Or C, a large winter storm that drops a ton of snowfall? The answer when First Alert Weather Tracking Winter returns. Before the break, I asked, what is a bomb cyclone? Is it A, a storm that rapidly intensifies with pressure drops of 24 millibars in 24 hours? Is it B, a winter hurricane? Or C, a large winter storm that drops a ton of snowfall? The answer, choice A. It's a storm that rapidly intensifies with pressure drops of 24 millibars in 24 hours. Hope you got it right. Early April of 2023, 7 News was proud to announce restarting a partnership with WTOP News. WTOP serves the Washington, D.C. metro area 24/7 with news, traffic, and now weather from the First Alert Weather Team. Here's Joel Oxley, Senior VP and General Manager.
Hi, I'm Joel Oxley, General Manager of WTOP Radio. Being a 24/7 news operation, we need reliable, up-to-the-minute weather information. Our partnership with Channel 7 News makes sure that happens. So whether it's Veronica, Eileen, Brian, Mark, Steve, or any of the other excellent meteorologists at Channel 7 News, we know that we have you covered. Sometimes that's as simple as what to wear, or maybe what your kids need to wear, or how to plan out that weekend that's coming up. But sometimes it's life-saving information that's critical. That could be about snow, or ice, or a thunderstorm, or a tornado, or a flood. So whether it's the routine or the critical, we know that our partnership with Channel 7 News has you covered.
Together, it's our promise to deliver the most impactful and helpful weather report. As we say here, 7 News, always on your side. Well, the last few winters have been meager and quite desolate. No lovely white landscapes to take pictures, big snow people to build, or snowballs to throw. This winter, though, there's something that will tip the odds in favor of snow lovers. Here's First Alert weather meteorologist Brian Vandergraff with El Nino and its impacts.
Well, it appears that we are entering an El Nino pattern. In fact, according to NOAA, El Nino developed in June is expected to remain rather prevalent, not only through the winter, but actually into spring. And now scientists can even quantify just how intense an El Nino event can be, albeit strong or moderate, weak or even very strong. And this will be our first El Nino winter in 4 years, and believe it or not, the first strong El Nino in 7 years. Now, El Nino and its counterpart, La Nina, are together known as the El Nino Southern Oscillation. But what exactly does an El Nino pattern mean? Well, you have to look all the way over into the eastern Pacific. You can see that highlighted area there. And this is where the sea surface temperatures are much warmer than normal, thus impacting weather not just there in the Pacific, but around the globe and right down to our neck of the woods here in the DMV. Now, El Nino is a predictable pattern that emerges periodically, and it impacts our atmosphere with added moisture and warmth. In fact, the last time that we experienced an El Nino pattern of this magnitude was back in the winter of 2015 and 2016. Now, 2016 went into the history books as the warmest year ever globally before today. However, locally, I think many residents, they'll remember 2016 not for its warmth, but rather for the epic snowfall. In fact, DC picked up 18 inches of snow, with 2 feet plus falling off to the north and west. Now, NOAA released their forecast calling for a 50-50 chance that precipitation will be above or below average and slightly above normal probability for a warmer winter season. So let's talk about how this all comes together. Take a look at the globe here. What we're talking about in a typical El Nino year is the subtropical jet, as highlighted there with that white arrow in the green line. This is showing us that we have some moisture that is being picked up, particularly through the Gulf and through the south, and that moisture is being transported northward closer to our latitudes here in the southeastern United States. Now, just how far north that moisture comes, it's ever so close, but if it gets a little bit closer to our metro area and then interacts with the polar jet, which pulls that cooler air down, well, when the two of these combine, that could lead to the perfect ingredients for a solid winter storm. So, what will the winter of 2023-24 really hold in store for us? Well, for the exact details, we'll have to check in with 7 News First Alert Chief Meteorologist Veronica Johnson.
So let's step back and take a look at what is considered average snowfall for Washington, D.C. For December, 1.7 inches. For January, 4.9. For February, 5 inches. And for March, even 2, with a total of 13.6 inches on average. So, how much shoveling might we be doing this season? Your First Alert weather team were forecasting slightly above average snowfall amounts with 17 inches of snowfall for the season, with storms becoming active starting in mid-January with those rainy, wintry mixed style storms, with our biggest snowstorms potentially hitting throughout the month of February. We're seeing a very active winter with storms producing snowfall, maybe even as late as early March. Well, here's a month-by-month breakdown of our snow forecast. With December, we're forecasting about 1 inch of snowfall with wintry mixed style storms. January, we're forecasting between 2 and 4 inches of snowfall. And for February, get this, 12 to 15 inches of snowfall. And even March could see 2 to 3 inches of snowfall. Total for the season, your First Alert weather team were forecasting 17 to 22 inches around Washington, D.C. and surrounding counties. As I said, by far, our biggest influence on temperatures and the snowfall that we get here is going to be El Nino and its strength. All it's going to take is that southern branch of the jet stream to shift north, hug the coast, and give us some pretty good nor'easters, just enough to dump a lot of snowfall and more than recent years. First Alert weather tracking winter continues after this.
Between March 2022 and March 2023, energy prices decreased 6.4% for all urban consumers, according to the Consumer Price Index. In Virginia, the average monthly Dominion energy bill is $133. That is 16% below the national average. The company says it was able to lower bills by $14, in part thanks to legislation passed by the General Assembly. Dominion's Peggy Fox says now is the time to prepare your home for winter.
The best way to save energy on your heating bill is to keep that temperature, to keep that thermostat at 68 degrees. The next thing is to install a smart thermostat. Then go around your house and check for cracks. You want to caulk, seal, weather strip those cracks. You want to keep the warm air in.
Dominion says there is help for anyone who can't pay their bill.
Dominion Energy Virginia offers up to $600 in bill payment assistance from October 1st through May 31st. And it is not income based. So anyone needing help on their heating bills may qualify for assistance.
Melanie Hastings, 7 News.
We hope that you've enjoyed First Alert Weather tracking winter. We want to remind you to stay with the entire First Alert Weather team for the latest forecasts and blogs. You can find us at WJLA.com or download the free 7 News app. Push alerts as winter weather heads our way. Our team of weather experts are dedicated to keeping you safe and prepared before, during, and after every storm. Always on your side all winter long.